While the car may look clean, there are still contaminants left here when you look at it at a very microscopic level. So this last step is really getting the last bit of that contamination, and we're using a clay bar. And there are different grades, but the one that we provide is actually a fine grade, which has the least chance of you scratching your car when you're doing this process. So before we get started, let's go ahead and get your bottle filled up. This is the tack bottle that is provided. And what you want to do is fill this up to 700 ml with distilled water. In my case, my water is actually filtered, so I'm going to go ahead and use that. Once you have 700 ml, you're going to be using the prep wash, and you're just going to bring this up to 800. So you're going to just use 100 ml of prep wash. There you go. You're just gonna swirl it a little bit and just go up and down just a couple of times. And now our solution is ready for clay bar. For this step, this is optional. You could actually use the provided gloves in the kit. But since this concentration is quite low, it won't necessarily be harmful, so you don't have to worry about it. But if you have sensitive skin, it might be better to be using gloves. We're gonna go ahead and open up the clay bar, and it does come with a case, in this case. And we're gonna grab a good chunk out of it. Okay, what you're gonna do is you're gonna knead it just like this, and you're gonna flatten it a little bit. And what you wanna do is use a solution and wet your fingers and the clay. The number one thing is you need to keep this area lubricated before you actually put clay on the surface. So we're gonna go ahead and spray this, and as I'm spraying, you're gonna gently run it over. And if you're not wearing gloves, what I like to do is I like to feel it. And you could feel that it's rough, and you'll feel that it stops if it's feeling something. So just make sure as you're going, you're gonna go ahead and spray, and then as you're going, you're gonna inspect, and then I'm gonna flip it and do the other side. Once you're done with that panel, you're gonna go ahead and knead it again, and then you're gonna go ahead and feel it, okay? And when you feel it, it's gonna feel rough if it's not clay barred. Right now it feels really, really smooth, and you can see that it's still lubricated. Just make sure you're really getting even, especially that body line, right? Especially right here. And I didn't do back there, so I'm gonna go ahead and clay that area. Great. And we also need to do headlight, since we are going to be covering that as well. As long as you're spraying frequently, you'll be fine, but the main thing is it's okay to overspray, and make sure that every, I guess, 2 by 2, you're inspecting your clay and then kneading it again. If it gets way too dirty, you have a whole bar, so go ahead and don't be too stingy and go ahead and use another one. You can throw it away. You have plenty enough for the whole car. So the order doesn't matter, but the way I'm going to be doing is I got the fender done. I'm going to go ahead and do the mirror. I'm going to do the other fender, the hood, and then lastly I'm going to be doing the bumper. So let's go ahead and we'll see you when you're done. So if you're trying to do this in sunlight, this is going to be a problem. I would be rinsing it more frequently, but since I have no sun right now, it's already dusk, I don't have an issue. I could do the whole front area and then I can go ahead and rinse it. And the other thing is I actually did it from top to bottom too, because even though we washed it, you're still going to have more risk of the dirt being at the bottom. So I did that last. So I worked my way so that when my clay also gets dirty, I'm okay and we're all the way at the end. So we got everything rinsed. You could kind of see some of that suds while I was rinsing it, and we're gonna have to dry it again. And the reason why we dried it and then we did this, you know, you're probably asking why, is because we did wash the whole car. So you wanna make sure that you dry all the surrounding areas at the least before you get here, because what happens is if it's during daylight and there's still the sun, it's gonna dry and it can cause some water spots. And that's kind of why we did that drying process a little bit earlier. So we're gonna use the same process, the damp microfiber, and we're gonna go ahead and run our microfiber all the way through, and you can see how much water that hood had right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest of them. I know that was a long process, but we're there. We just have one more step to do. So go ahead, once the car is dried, we're gonna bring it into your garage and we're gonna do the edge prep.